AI's Dirty Secret, or How to Spend $500,000 of Supercomputing. Episode 3, A Surprise Donation. "2022 has been a busy year. By December the 15th, Robert is ready to wind down for the Christmas holidays. He's thinking it may be time to take a breath and reflect on the project that has taken over his life. There's much on which to reflect. It's nearly 2 years since Robert abandoned earning a living as a documentary filmmaker, broadcaster and consultant to set up See-Through News, a zero-budget climate activist network. This decision gave Robert a purpose, clarity and meaning that is shared by a growing international network of volunteers. It may also have hastened the end of his 25-year-old marriage. As the See-Through News network grows, its appeal is becoming more clearly defined. The characteristics that set it apart from most environmental activist organisations are getting easier to explain and demonstrate as more projects are developed and added to the increasingly diverse roster. One such project is developing so strongly he thinks it might need its own website, brand and identity. See-Through News' focus on measurably reducing carbon has thrown light on a rather important problem: measuring carbon. Carbon auditing standards might not sound very sexy, but measuring things properly is an essential starting point to claiming any progress. The deeper Robert delves into the current world of carbon auditing standards, the more convinced he becomes that the chaotic, expensive, competing commercial standards are unfixably unfit for purpose, benefiting greenwashers and hence penalising companies who genuinely seek change. Robert is talking to some carbon auditing expert volunteers about developing a radically new standard that is accurate, free to use, transparent and open source. It's early days, but they're getting enthusiastic feedback so far, especially for emulating the See-Through News zero-budget model. As a journalist, Robert's first instinct is to follow the money, so he knows the power of not having any money to follow. Robert is thinking of calling this spin-off See-Through Carbon, with the tagline, "If you can't buy integrity, why should you be able to sell it?" After 20 years running a production company in what he likes to refer to as the beggingest business in the world, independent documentary filmmaking, Robert is delighted to discover that, so far at least, the advantages of not having a bank account far outweigh any drawbacks. Operating through volunteers alone not only provides instant integrity, it's also super efficient. Remove all the time and energy that money-based charities spend on raising, approving and spending money, and you're instantly 10 times more productive and 20 times more nimble. Money-free activism permits a laser-like focus on the mission. For See-Through News, this means measurably reducing carbon. The See-Through News combination of crystal-clear goal and refreshingly original method is attracting activists who share Robert's frustration whenever he hears the phrase "saving the planet." Like him, they prefer the ambition of mitigating the worst effects of human-induced climate change on human civilization. Less catchy, more meaningful. Raising awareness isn't a bad thing, but if educating and informing is an end in itself rather than a means, no carbon is reduced as a result. A year ago, See-Through News road-tested some of its transparent Trojan horse activities at COP26 in Scotland. The team had seen how the world's most active climate activists, and ordinary Glaswegians, responded to a street theatre quiz game, a superhero drawing competition and a guerrilla gig for ukulele and bagpipes, instead of pamphlets and protests. For nearly 100 consecutive Sundays, Robert had produced a newsletter summarising progress. He was teeing up the Sunday, December 18th edition but the following one would be Christmas Day. Nothing too noteworthy had occurred, and even the keenest See-Through News newsletter subscribers probably wouldn't be thinking about effective climate action on Christmas Day. Sitting at his keyboard, struggling to come up with an article for Sunday's newsletter, Robert wonders if anyone would really notice or care if he misses one newsletter. That's when Tom calls. Robert wishes him seasonal greetings. They swap holiday plans. As Robert is thinking of winding up, Tom says this isn't just a social call. As CEO of cloud computing management platform Yellow Dog, Tom wants to make a corporate donation to See-Through News. Robert gently reminds Tom See-Through News has no bank account and is entirely run by volunteers. Equally gently, Tom tells Robert he's aware of that, which is why the donation is in the form of a voucher, more precisely, a free license. 2 conditions, Tom says. 1. The voucher has to be used to further the See-Through News goal of speeding up carbon drawdown by helping the inactive become active. No problem there, says Robert. Hardly counts as a condition. 2, Tom goes on, there's a strict deadline. The free license has been accounted for in Yellow Dog's annual budget and expires at the end of the financial year on April the 10th, less than 5 months away. Also not a problem, says Robert breezily. For a former TV news producer, 5 months is an eternity. So what's the voucher for, and how much is it worth? Supercomputer-grade cloud computing, replies Tom. And $500,000. Well, that solves the problem of what to write about in the pre-Christmas newsletter. Robert writes an article called Our First Donation. But with offices empty during the Christmas holidays, time ticking down to the suddenly imminent-sounding April 10th deadline, no profile, no track record and no budget, what on earth is See-Through News supposed to do with this bolt-from-the-blue gift? In episode 4, Best Christmas Present Wrapping Ever, Robert spends his Christmas holidays working out what Tom's gift is and how to wrap it.
AI's Dirty Secret, or How to Spend $500,000 of Supercomputing, was narrated by George Hinchliffe, who also wrote the music. It was written, produced and mixed by Robert Stern. The See-Through News podcast is a See-Through News production. See-Through News is a zero-budget social media network with the goal of speeding up carbon drawdown by helping the inactive become active. For more, visit seethroughnews.org. Thank you for listening.